Heinzel, 77th Allison Dairyland, is in our studio today, and we welcome her along. How you doing these days?
I have been wonderful. How have you been?
I have been very good. Yeah, isn't it quickly moving along here? Your reign as Alice is flying, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've just hit 7 months now, so it really is flying. Winter is going by so fast. I wish we would have had a little bit more snow, but it's been a lot of fun still traveling across Wisconsin. Good, safe driving weather, so that's been great.
Yeah, that has been. That's a real plus. Mm-hmm. We just passed the Super Bowl, and that's a big day for Wisconsin products, isn't it?
Absolutely. There are two big products I like to feature when we talk about Wisconsin agriculture during the Super Bowl. The first one is cheese. It is the biggest holiday for cheese consumption in the U.S. I just heard a stat. It's like 29 million pounds of cheese are consumed just on the Super Bowl. I know I'm taking up a big chunk of that. I love a good cheese platter, and I really don't do just those prepackaged ones. I love to go to the specialty cheese counter and pick out some of those proudly Wisconsin cheese products. I'm a big fan of Parmesan. I love Gouda, but those cheese platters are good any time of the year. That's the best part.
Is there a cheese that you've discovered that you never knew that you liked or never knew of?
I have started to really enjoy loving aged cheeses a lot more. I like the complexity of the flavors. My favorite thing to do before I buy cheese is to sample it. That's the best way to know if you're going to like it or not before you buy a whole block. And most specialty cheese counters in Wisconsin, even just in your regular grocery store, do offer sampling of some sort. You just have to ask.
Oh, yes. It's good stuff. And I'm like you. I wasn't always a fan of the really old stuff, but I've come to kind of be fond of it.
Yes, a 15-year aged cheddar with those crystals in it. Oh, my gosh. It's just the best.
Yeah, it just crumbles apart, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So I know you wanted to talk this time about potatoes.
Yes.
That's a big part of Wisconsin industry, isn't it?
Absolutely. And going back to Super Bowl, they were great. I had some great appetizers featuring Wisconsin potatoes this year at the Super Bowl. Wisconsin is third in the nation for potato production, but first east of the Mississippi. We produce about 3 billion pounds of potatoes every year across 63,000 acres, planted mostly around central Wisconsin. So potatoes are a huge part of our agriculture industry, which contributes $116.3 billion to our state's economy. Some of the appetizers I've been enjoying, I was really liking their baby red potato chili stuffed potato bites. They're so good. You take little red potatoes, you boil them, you cut off the bottom so they sit good in a baking dish. You scoop out the middle, save that for mashed potatoes, and then you fill them with chili and cream cheese. You can buy store-bought or you can make it yourself. Top with a little Wisconsin cheddar, pop them in the oven for about 20 minutes to bake so that the top is nice and crispy, and then they're ready to go. And the cool part about it is they're really easy to make ahead of time. So you do the boiling and stuffing part, and then you do the topping with cheese and baking part the day of.
That's interesting. I wish I would have known that for my Super Bowl party.
Yeah, they were really perfect. And you can use them as an appetizer or as a main dish if you got some of the bigger red potatoes. They're perfect.
And then you set aside it's not like a twice-baked potato. You use the mashed for later.
Yeah, you use that for a completely different dish. So it's 2 for the price of 1, which is really exciting.
Awesome. Any other potato recipes that come to mind?
The other one I've been really enjoying is I actually went to some high schools and taught about Wisconsin potatoes. And in those classes, they were culinary classes, and we made Wisconsin potato chip chocolate chip cookies. So they're just like any other chocolate chip cookie. There's just 2 big differences. The first is going to be in the batter. You're going to add right at the end with half a cup of instant mashed potatoes. I'm not a great baker. I overbake my cookies all the time. Instant mashed potatoes are here to save you. You can't taste them at all. There's really not even a big texture difference. But when you're baking, they're going to retain the moisture a lot better. So if you overbake on accident, they're going to stay nice and crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, which I know is a lot of people's favorite way to eat cookies. And the other way we add potatoes is with those chocolate chips. Half a cup of crushed up Ruffles. I throw them in my food processor and dump them in. And then you get a sweet and salty cookie, which a lot of people really enjoy. And they're great with a glass of ice-cold Wisconsin milk.
That sounds yummy, Haley. It really does. So the chips don't get soggy when they're in the cookie?
No, they don't. They stay nice and crisp. I like to blend them really, really fine so you can't even tell they're in there. When I told all the high schoolers, like, this is what we're making today, you get a lot of faces. People are not so sure about putting potatoes in baked goods. But it's actually really, really good. So if you're worried about that, if you grind them up really fine, you just get the flavor. You don't really see them. But you can leave them a little bit bigger, and they still stay nice and crisp, and you can actually see the little yellow flakes of chips in there.
What is your favorite brand of potato chip to use?
Oh my gosh, that is a really tough question. So for that recipe, I use Ruffles potato chips, but I'm also a big fan of Lay's, and I love kettle-cooked potato chips. But as long as they're using Wisconsin potatoes, that's what really matters. And Wisconsin potato growers do send a lot of potatoes for Lay's potato chips.
I did not know that. Oh, that's good stuff. And I think about potato chips. Some people even put them on their hamburgers, don't they?
I have seen that, yeah. A little bit of extra crunch. And a lot of people forget, like, potato chips, French fries, tater tots, even though they might not be the quote-unquote healthy way, whatever, they're still Wisconsin potatoes. There's still a lot of nutrition that you can get from those potatoes. Potatoes are really low in calories, super high in fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals. No matter how you are enjoying them, you're supporting Wisconsin's economy. You're also getting that athletic performance powered by Wisconsin potatoes. It really is just the best option. That's why it's America's favorite vegetable.
I love hash browns, and I like to make our own, get the grater out and make our own, so there's nothing put in them to preserve them or anything like that. It's homemade.
Just a good old haystack hash brown. Absolutely delicious.
And then make a hash burger, put a hamburger on top of that, a little Wisconsin cheese.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really good.
That's one of Phil's recipes. That's all I got, Haley. Recently, you had a trip to Vietnam. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. In mid-January, I was in Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam on a trade trip of sorts with the Ginseng Board of Wisconsin. With my job, of course, I love representing all Wisconsin agriculture wherever I go, but this was specifically for Wisconsin ginseng products. For those not familiar, ginseng is the state herb of Wisconsin. We produce 98% of the cultivated ginseng in the United States, and you may have not heard of it, even though it's such a big crop here, because we export 85% of it over to Asian countries. So when we want to see how ginseng is sold, we really do have to go over to those countries. It's used most commonly in traditional Chinese medicine, but it's also used in day-to-day life over there as well. So Singapore and Malaysia are new markets for Wisconsin ginseng. There's a little bit of presence in Singapore, and it was actually Ginseng Board's very first trip to Malaysia. The Ginseng Board of Wisconsin does not themselves sell ginseng. Their job is to find markets for growers to sell their ginseng in. So we got to really explore Malaysian culture and see how Malaysians are enjoying ginseng products. We visited several traditional Chinese medicine markets, which was really neat. And then when we headed to Vietnam, there's actually a very fastly growing ginseng market there, and they consume ginseng a little bit differently. There's not a huge Chinese population in Vietnam, so they do it in all sorts of different ways. I got to try some ginseng gummy bears and ginseng chocolate-covered almonds, and so they're really innovating new ways to use Wisconsin ginseng.
Wisconsin ginseng, is some of it wild, too?
Yeah, we don't do a lot with the wild ginseng. It's a lot more regulated, but we do work really closely with the DNR. So it is the same plant. The Latin name is exactly the same. But cultivated ginseng is grown in a ginseng garden. If you're ever driving through central Wisconsin and you see those fields that are covered with like black fabric, that's a ginseng garden. Wild ginseng needs 85% shade cover to really thrive. And so we have to mimic that when we want to do cultivated ginseng. But there is a lot of wild ginseng in Wisconsin, but not a whole ton. It's actually, there's a lot of regulations with picking wild ginseng and things like that. The DNR would know way more about that than I do. I'm very much more on the cultivated side of things. But ginseng growers do have to work with the DNR to make sure everything is going good with our ginseng population.
So you saw the use of ginseng in products when you went on your trip. Could you see those coming back, maybe becoming more popular here in the U.S.?
Those chocolate-covered almonds were absolutely incredible. I definitely could see that becoming a big thing here in the U.S. I feel like ginseng is just waiting for its big moment here in the United States. There are some ways that we can find ginseng now in the Arizona green iced teas. There's a little bit of ginseng in there. Anyone who likes the double shot Starbucks espresso cans, they're adding ginseng into those products. So I feel like once people really get on the ginseng train, I honestly like it just for the flavor. Some people take it as like a supplement. I like to mix it into my hot chocolate. I get it in powdered form. It almost has a bit of a nutty flavor when it's powdered. So there's lots of different ways to enjoy Wisconsin ginseng. If you want to support Wisconsin ginseng products, you can go to realwisconsinginseng.com. There's a whole list of companies on there. You can buy directly from them. That's like the easiest way to get it. It's kind of hard to find in stores.
Let's talk a little bit about your experience in Vietnam. Somebody told me the topography, everything is very similar to Wisconsin. Did you find that where you were at or not?
Maybe. I was a lot in the cities. So to me, it reminded me a lot more of like Florida a little bit with how tropical it was. A lot of palm trees. It was so hot. We were there in the cool season. It was like in the 90s most of the time. The coolest it ever got was about 70 degrees. And then it rained, like poured for about 2 hours every single day, right around the same time, like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was like clockwork. It'd be perfectly sunny, and then a half hour before, clouds would roll in, it'd rain, and then before dinner, it'd be gone and out of there. In Malaysia, it was really neat. We got to visit the Batu Caves. It's like 300 steps, and you get to climb up into these beautiful natural limestone formations, and there was a Hindu temple in there. So it was really cool to get to see some of the local culture as well while I was there, even though it was a business trip. Don't get me wrong. We did do a lot of work while we were there, but you only get to travel to an East Asian country with a tiara once in your life, so you got to take advantage of it. So it was absolutely incredible.
Application deadline for the next Alice in Dairyland, that has passed, hasn't it?
Yes, that was January 31st, so those are closed now. I know back at DATCAP, they're excitedly going through all of those resumes we received, and candidates should be receiving emails pretty soon, the ones who were selected for an interview, and so that's going to be at the end of February that we do the interviewing. That's all private. That's all at the DATCAP office. Then in March, we're really excited to be announcing those top 6 candidates out of everyone we interview. That's going to be down in Crawford County. We'll re-announce that. There will be a live Facebook Live where you can tune in to the press briefing. And then I'm really excited to take those 6 candidates on a journey really learning about being a better ambassador for agriculture. Only one of them will become Alice in Dairyland, but all 6 of them will become better women on the other side of it. And the really cool thing is DATCAP also offers a marketing and communication certificate now as part of going through that process. So everyone comes out on the other side with something to show for it.
Do you remember yourself a year ago being kind of nervous for those interviews?
Yes, it is really crazy to think about where I was at this time last year. I was just starting my second semester of my senior year at Madison, got my application in, was eagerly awaiting that email back. Those interviews, they're definitely intimidating. You really want to put your best foot forward. And my advice to anyone listening, no matter what career you're going into, but if you want to be Alice someday, is to always be yourself. That's what people really want to see, especially in these very forward-facing roles. You are really looking for somebody who's very genuine and really cares a lot about what they're talking about. And if you really show that passion, people will definitely see it.
So you'll be among the committee then, right? That interviews, or do you be a part of that?
So I'm more of like a hostess of sorts. So I will be at DATCAP welcoming those interviewees, helping get them calmed down and ready to show their best selves to the preliminary panel. But I don't do any of the selection process. So I'm kind of along for the ride. I'm there to be a mentor and a guide and to show them more about what being Alice is really like behind the scenes. But as far as selection, that is not my job at all. So we have a panel of 3 preliminary judges who do that first interview set. They select the top 6, and then we have a completely different set of 3 judges who judge the rest of the process. So after those candidates are announced in March, every week they have to turn in assignments that showcase different parts of the Alice in Dairyland role. So some of them are a sample social media post or a blog. Some of them are videos. And then those get sent to the judges. It's all critiqued by points. And then at the end in May, it's a 3-day partially public job interview. Those 6 candidates come to Crawford County. It's May 15th through the 17th. They meet those 3 judges in person for the very first time. And they spend the next 3 days with those judges doing industry tours, some media speaking opportunities, public speaking, and then at the end, on the 17th at a banquet, the 78th Alice in Dairyland is selected.
And that'll be in Prairie du Chien, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Right.
May 17th. And tickets for that should be opening up pretty soon. You can stay tuned on the Alice in Dairyland Facebook and Instagram. There's also Alice in Dairyland Finals. They have way more information specifically about those events as well.
Wow, it's probably bittersweet for you, isn't it?
Definitely. It's really exciting to get to see other people get to go through this really great process. I really valued my time as an Alice in Dairyland top candidate. I'm so excited to see who number 78 is, but it also does mean that there are only about 5 months left of my term here as Alice in Dairyland. But I'm always, excited to go on to greener pastures. You can only be Alice once and you have to make the most of it. But I know that no matter where I go, I will be telling the stories of Wisconsin agriculture, and that's the best job in the whole world.
Do they ever have a reunion of all the past Alices?
They sure do. Every year at Alice in Dairyland Finals, they invite a lot of those Alices. Everyone is invited to come back. They do a tour that highlights the county. When we see quite a few, there's usually at least 20 or 25 that come. And then on those big number years, 75, 80, those types of years, we get a lot of turnout. Our first Alice in Dairyland, Margaret McGuire, is still alive. She was at the 75th Alice in Dairyland Finals.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah, what a cool treat for you to get a chance to meet her then.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you thought about, during your studies this year and your travels, are you getting some ideas for what you like to do post-Alice?
Well, my dream that I've had since I was a little kid, like 4 years old, is still the same. I still want to grow up and be a first-generation farmer. But until I can reach that goal, I really am thinking about something with social media or broadcasting. I love being on the radio. I love being on TV. And I also love sharing stories on social media. So I'm looking at things in like digital media, things like that.
Sure, but you probably do both. You could have the farm and still do that.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal in the end. Right now, I'm still living in Madison and probably will be staying there for a little while, but hoping to move out to the country as soon as possible. And I do have 2 cows already and a couple chickens. They live on a farm in Lake Mills, so it'd be a dream to move them out to my own farm.
Awesome, that's great. We appreciate you stopping by to see us. It's always a treat when you show up, and you'll be coming back hopefully to see us real soon. Then.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
You bet. Halei Heinzel joining us, the 77th Alice in Dairyland for our great state of Wisconsin.